Well, I studied art history.
Yes.
Actually, I'd always been interested in writing. And when I was at university, I took a writing course with a very, very avant-garde, edgy writer named John Hawkes. I don't know if you know him.
Yes, I know.
Very, really, he's considered very obscure in America. And I remember, I still have the paper, one of my stories that I gave him, and he wrote across in red ink, you sound like, seems like you've been reading a lot of Paul Bowles. And he was right. But he encouraged me. And I didn't want to be an art historian. I was happy to have studied it. So I didn't want to be drafted into the army, which was very likely. So I sort of gamed the system, we call it, and I joined the Foreign Service of USIA, which is, I think you know here in France, is USIS, the cultural wing of the State Department. They also handle press. And then was sent to Vietnam as a civilian. So instead of living in a barracks with 30 other guys, I had an air-conditioned apartment, a housekeeper, and a simulated rank of major, even though I was 23. Pretty good to be a major at that age. Simulated major. And when I got back after those, I did a couple of years in Vietnam, and then a couple of extra years because I really liked it there. I decided I didn't want a career in the government. They encouraged me. They said I could be an ambassador someday, but not a big ambassador to France or anything like that. Maybe an ambassador to Chad or to Tobago or something. And I just didn't want to work in a system like that. So I decided to try to write, and that's how I started taking it seriously. And the first books were very literary. I started, emulating. I wanted to be like my favorite writers, Faulkner, Hemingway, the people like that. And it took me a while to come back to find this level, which by coincidence had something to do with what my parents had done, although I think quite differently, because they were writing very classical kind of whodunit type books. And I tried to write, rather complicated psychological books. But so I had to get over some of my literary pretensions and write in a simpler style, a more transparent style. It took me a while to learn to write in a way that you don't notice the writing. And I think in Tangier, you do notice the writing, but maybe it's not so bad.